Hey everyone, with AI tools becoming a part of our daily lives, it's crucial to understand how they access or handle our data. Today, we are diving into what we need to know to use AI safely and protect our privacy. Let's break down how AI tools handle our data. There are two ways we access AI tools. One is through their official websites and apps. When we are using AI interfaces like ChatGPT, Claude, or Bard, through their web interfaces or app, it's like having a conversation inside their house. Any information that we share, anything that we type, is stored and processed in their servers. Companies will often use this data to train their model or better their model. Hence, you should always consider reading the privacy policy and see if there is an opt out option if you want to opt out from this. The second way that we access the AI tools are through API integration. In this, what it means is that we have apps with built in AI into it. However, in this case as well, data does flow through the AI company's server. Usually, they do have stricter privacy policies and data policies, and some companies offer you data storage control. Important thing here is always read the documentation about their data handling and policies and the options that you have. Now there are two types of models. One are the closed source models. These are like your black boxes. You can't modify them, you can't customize them. You have very limited control over data handling. It is always hosted on the provider's infrastructure. Now the second kind of model are the open source models. These are like having your own personal AIs which you can run on premise, and this means you can run them on your own computers or servers. Now you have complete control over your data, perfect for sensitive information. However, there are few additional privacy policies you should always keep in mind. Number one is content moderation. AI providers scan inputs for harmful content. Humans regularly review flagged conversation. So just because you've chosen private, it does not mean it is unseen. Data policies and retention. Different companies store your data for different storage time. Some delete it after 30 days, others keep it for longer. So check the privacy policies for details. Consider, does this align to the needs that I have? Here is one thing you should always keep in mind before you share any information on AI. Always ask yourself, would I be comfortable if this data became public? Would I be okay seeing this on Facebook or Twitter? Does this contain any kind of personal information? Is this company sensitive data? Could this information help you identify someone? These are crucial guidelines you should always keep in mind. Hence, there are few smart tips you can always follow when creating AI models. Always use placeholder data and not real data when you are testing the models. Mask sensitive information. Split sensitive content into separate chunks. Use enterprise versions for business data. The most important is regularly audit your AI tool usage. AI tools are incredibly powerful, and with power, you always have responsibilities. So they require informed usage. Understanding data handling is just not about your privacy, it's also about responsible AI adoption. Okay, so now let's take this a step forward and we can develop an easy end-to-end AI application with help of DeepSeek R1 model. I'll be integrating LangChain framework. I will be using OLLAMA in my local computer. So that means I will download the entire model, run it in my application, and obviously I will not send the data to China. So let's look at this step-by-step tutorial and let's implement it together. Let me quickly share my screen. So by now, I'm sure most of you have used DeepSeek. You can also download the app for DeepSeek and use it on your mobile phones. You can get the API for DeepSeek, integrate that API into any of your generative AI apps and then start using it. However, the method that I'm going to use today is going to be slightly different because there are a couple of problems that I have faced. One is because of the massive adoption that has happened for DeepSeek, the server sometimes comes busy and it gets interrupted. Secondly, any information that I put into this model, whether this is going to be on the web interface, the app or the API, it is going to be processed through the servers as I explained it to you earlier, and I do not want to share my data. So what I'm going to do now is download the DeepSeek on my computer and run it on premise. It will download all the parameters into my computer and start using it from there. So in order to do that, we will be using OLLAMA. we need to write OLLAMA DeepSeek R1 and then search it. The first option that we get, DeepSeek R1 OLLAMA, this is the option we go into. You will see that there are other distilled version as well, but what I'm going to use right now is DeepSeek R1. When I come to the DeepSeek R1 page, you will see that a lot of versions are available here. 1.5 billion, 7 billion, 8 billion, 14 billion, 32 billion, 70 billion, 671 billion. These are different models. I'm going to go in for the smallest one now, which is 1.5 billion parameters. So in order to run this, all I need to do is copy this particular code. OLLAMA run DeepSeek R1 1.5 billion. One thing you have to keep in mind before we build this model is you need to have OLLAMA installed in your computer. Right now, if you see at the top of my screen, you have this OLLAMA here. This means that OLLAMA is installed on my computer and I'm going to use that. Okay, so now let me get the terminal. If you have a Windows laptop or a desktop, you'll need to bring your command prompt. I have a Macintosh or an Apple, so that's why I'm doing it in the terminal. It's one and the same thing. In this, what I need to do is I need to paste the command that I have just copied. If this is the first time that you are running it, this is going to install here now. It's going to take a few minutes to install it, so let it install. For me, this model is already installed on my computer. So what this basically means is now DeepSeek R1 is running inside my laptop. It is not working through the servers. In the terminal, I can simply test it. So let's say I want to get information. You will see that it will show you the thinking process that's happening, and then it will give you what a sales funnel is. The information is here. But this is not how we are going to build the app today. What we are going to use today is we are going to use VS Code. In VS Code right now, in this particular project, I've already started the virtual environment and I've already run the requirements, which means I've already installed these libraries, which is Streamlit, LangChain Core, LangChain Community and OLLAMA. I'll be putting all these codes on my GitHub. I'll be putting the link to the GitHub so you can use these codes to build this app. Okay, this is going to be a very simple app. It's going to do some basic things, but it is going to help you understand how you can use these functionalities on your computer. The speed that it works with on my computer might be faster in comparison to yours because I have a high-end spec computer. So I've opened a new Python file, which is app.py. You can give any other name. And in this, I'm going to import the libraries that I need. So which libraries do I need? I need import Streamlit as st from LangChain OLLAMA. I'm going to import chat OLLAMA, and from LangChain Core, I'm going to get the output parsers, and from output parsers I'm going to get the str output parser. So now what I'm going to do is from LangChain, I'm going to get the prompt templates. There is the system message prompt template, which will help me make the system messages more coherent and consistent. The human message template prompts that helps us to make the human message template prompt, say, get it more organized. And then the AI message template prompt helps us to do the same for the AI messages. The chat prompt template helps us to combine all of these three, that is system message prompt template, the human message prompt template, AI message prompt template, and get it done in a coherent manner. So now I'm going to do some CSS styling. CSS styling basically means formatting. So how your user interface or the front end is going to look like. Instead of getting a front end developer, I've taken a very basic front end code from the DeepSeek documentation and used it. I've just changed a few options so that it can be more customized to the product that I'm building. Okay. Along with that, I'm also creating a sidebar. In that sidebar, I'm making it a little bit more flexible and putting it some options. For example, in the sidebar, I'm giving it the heading where there is configuration, and in this configuration, I'm giving it an option for the model selector. Okay. So if I have multiple models, I just have R1 1.5 billion parameters here. But if I want, I can have multiple models, multiple AI models here, and I can use any one of it at any point of time. Okay, and also to let your user know what all it can do, I'm putting in some information for what model capabilities this has, and to give information that we are using LangChain and OLLAMA. I've put in the two websites for it. If I look at the CSS formatting, it is just the colors, backgrounds, what's going to be the title of this particular Streamlit application, what are the different options it's going to be displayed there. So that's going to be decided by the CSS. After the CSS configuration is done, we need to start initiating the chat engine. In that, I'm going to use LLM engine, and if you remember, we have imported the chat OLLAMA, so that's what we'll be using here. First thing I'm going to give it is the model, and the model it's going to be using here is the selected models, right, like we have put in here, and whichever model is selected, it is going to take that. If you've used OLLAMA before, you know that there is a base URL that we can use, and this is the base URL this is the local port in which your OLLAMA applications will be running. I will also be setting a temperature. For this, I'm giving a temperature of 0.3 because I want it to be more matter of fact and code oriented. You can increase or decrease the temperature depending on how creative you or the randomness you want to increase or decrease on this. Now the next thing I'm going to look at is the system configuration. For system configuration, what it does, okay, let me write this for you. I've already got a role defined. I'm just going to use that. This is a system configuration I'm going to use. For the system prompt, I'm using the system message prompt template. Remember, we've got this here. Right? From that template, what we are saying is you are an expert AI coding assistant and provide concise and correct solution with strategic print statement for debugging. Always respond in English. So we are just giving it information how the system prompt should behave, right? Next functionality that we talked about was it to store the chat history. We are creating simple code to manage the state. We create a session state, and that is this message log, and in the message log we keep storing all the information. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to create a chat history for us, which we can use in context later. Okay, so after that, what we need to do is we need to create a chat container. So for the chat container, we are using Streamlit library. Streamlit library has its chat containers. We're going to use that. So now next thing is displaying the chat message. So now to display this chat messages, we will write with the chat container. We are only looking for info on this particular session. We are using the display message role and message content. This information will be displayed, so when we are having conversation, we will need to add the role and the content in a particular state available. So after that, what we will be doing is deciding how the user interface or the user messages behave, right? So next thing we are going to look at is the chat input and processing. With this, we will use the user.query You have this chat input function again from this Streamlit. The message that I want to type inside it is, what do you want to know today? Okay. Next thing we will create is a function for generating response and give it a prompt chain. So now here what basically happens is we create a processing pipeline, and this is very important as we will have an LCL expression. So in this I'll be using a prompt chain along with the LLM engine, along with my output parser. Okay, and then we will return a processing pipeline. This processing pipeline will have an invoke function. The invoke function will call all of this chain into action. So now what we need to do is define this prompt chain. Okay, it's a very simple prompt chain which is going to take the information, append it into the message log, and make sure that this prompt sequences is running. Okay, and in order to get this done, we need the user's input. If the user puts in the information here, it's going to create a session state, and in the message log it's going to add each chat that is there. Okay, and then it will build a prompt chain. Okay, the prompt chain will get the AI responding here. Okay, and then it will create the information, store it in the message log, and it will be displayed. So now this app is built and ready to use. Now that we have finished the coding portion, let's save this file and run it. We use Streamlit. You need to go to terminal and type Streamlit run and the name of the Python file. For my case, it is app.py. Enter. So now you see this chatbot is live and active. So how the CSS formatting has helped here is it's determining the colors here. Okay, what's the title of it, what's going to be the caption on it, and this is from how the chatbot is going to message here. Yeah, how can I help you today? So this is the information from here, and the information for the sidebar, if you look at the information for the sidebar, this is coming from the CSS portion again, which is the sidebar configuration. So it's going to help me, let me select which model I want to use. I'm going to use 1.5. The capabilities, that is chatbot, Python coding assistant, that also comes from the sidebar text here, and these codes, these are the websites that I had put in, which appears as hyperlink out here. Okay. So this is how you can build a basic interface. Now let's see the functionality of it. Okay, so if I want to use it as a simple information chatbot, right, so I can say what is AI agent, and you will see that it is processing it, and then it will give you the thinking process, and then it will give you the answer. And then if I want to look at something creative, say write a poem on, say, coffee. Okay, so now again you will see it has the processing, and then the poem is created. So what I am going to concentrate on is creating a code. So I want to use this create code. So create a Python code for Tetris for me to play. There you go. Again it is processing. So you can do different things with DeepSeek. Okay, it depends on how you want to use it, what applications you want to build with it. With the coding part, it will take a little bit more processing time because there is more thinking and more planning that is going forward with it. Okay, and this is just a basic app. We are using three things. One is your DeepSeek as an LLM model. We are using LangChain framework, and we are using OLLAMA to deploy it on your laptop. Okay, so this will run whether or not internet is there on my computer. So now the coding is also done. So you see that the coding part also works pretty fast. I have tried this code on my system, so it runs perfectly fine. This is just an example of how you can start using OLLAMA, and I know that it can be a little bit overwhelming with so many new things coming up every day, but our objective at AI Transformer is to make AI simple for every one of us to use. Okay, so just try these codes. These codes will be on my GitHub. You can go on GitHub and start using it, start building it, start customizing it. If you are stuck anywhere, just message us, and if there is anything else that you want us to build or explain, let us know and we'll help you out. You have a great day ahead, and let's simplify AI for limitless possibilities. Thank you.